Khan here for Seconds Out with the one and only Robert McCracken. Robbie, good to see you. First time interviewing as well too. An interview I wanted to do for a while, so pleasure to speak to you. How's life treating you?
Yeah, all good, thanks.
Good to hear. Look, this fight between Lauren Price and Natasha Jonas. I was speaking to Joe, and the narrative around it has been like experience versus youth. Lauren Price has said too fast, too strong, too quick. Is that what it is? Is it a case of experience versus youth, or is there more to it?
I just think, you've got to take fights at the right time in professional boxing. You've got to take opportunities as well. So, Lauren's 30 years of age. She's not 21. So she's at a peak, and the peak of her powers physically and mentally and ability-wise as well. And Natasha's more than happy to take up the challenge. So you have to challenge yourself in professional boxing, and that's what Lauren's doing, and Natasha's doing that as well.
What's the level of step up from Lauren's previous opponents to Natasha Jonas?
Yeah, I think it's certainly a step up. Natasha's technically good, good power as well, good speed as well. So Lauren will have to negate that, but it's a challenge, and you got to accept these challenges in professional boxing. And you can't hang around forever because not so much father time, but maybe your motivation, or maybe how you see things, and maybe you take your foot off the gas a little bit every now and again in training and stuff. So. In my experience of professional boxing, once you're equipped, then you should move and fight the best. And you've seen that in the past with lots of American fighters fighting top fighters early in their professional careers, and some of them have became massive world champions. But you can hang around too long in professional boxing as well, and maybe the drive or the body lets you down, or the motivation isn't quite there. If you tread water for 5 or 6 years, it's probably worse than challenging yourself and pushing on and taking on the best.
A sense of pride for yourself, having obviously guided Lauren Price, but Natasha Jonas as well through the GB system. Seeing those two at this point in their career having this big fight and big occasion.
Yeah, it's good. It was nice to see Natasha. I've seen Savannah Marshall as well. I haven't seen Savannah for a little bit. It's not really nice to see them, but look, it's boxing. They know it's boxing. It's not nothing personal between Lauren and Natasha. It's just boxing, and they're going up against each other. So over the next few weeks, they'll be they're preparing hard and doing everything they can to get the win on the night.
Cindy Gamba makes a transition over to the professional ranks. How do you think she'll transition over, and how far can she go?
Yeah, I think she can go all the way. I know that's easy to say, but Cindy, was shade unlucky just to get a bronze medal in Paris. Phenomenal female physically and technically. She's got everything that you need, and she's looking forward to moving into professional ranks and showing what she can do. But yeah, I think she'll be, she'll become a big deal in professional boxing for women, and there's no doubt about it. She can go all the way. It's just getting the right matches at the right time. But she's got all the abilities to do it.
Same with Karis and Caroline. Caroline's now become full WBC champion, but both of those have huge ceilings too.
Yeah, Caroline was in obviously in Tokyo with us, and she turned professional. But yeah, she's been brilliant as a professional. She's obviously world champion now, so she's 24 years of age, so she's got a whole life in front of her in boxing. So she's going to be a nightmare for lots of boxers over the next few years, and she's a real talent as well. And she'll probably follow suit with Daniel as well, and prove some, perform some big surprises along the way in this sport. Anything can happen. But yeah, she's a top female fighter, and she'll stay at the top for a long time.
Away from this set of fighters, I wanted to ask you about some of the current last generation of fighters. Delicious Ori apparently has a potential offer for WWE, or could do boxing. What would you like to see Delicious Ori do?
Boxing's tough. Professional boxing's a tough sport. You got to do what you want to do. What's in your heart and what's in your head. You got to go for whatever you want to do. Lauren Price was a footballer. She had 52 caps for Wales, but she chose boxing. So what's in your heart normally overrules your head. So I know DJ was on the program for a good while. He was shade unlucky in Paris. He did great while he was on the program. Won the European Games as well, gold medal. But yeah, he'll turn pro because he's a fighter. So I would have thought he'll turn professional because if it's what's in your heart is boxing, there's no contest. So I would have thought, you never know, but I would have thought he'll turn pro.
Do you ever practice any wrestling moves at the gym?
You push and shove, don't you? But you don't want to get too carried away. It's hard enough boxing.
Pat Brown has now made the decision to go pro as well. A lot of fanfare surrounding Pat Brown. What do you think for him as well?
Yeah, Pat Brown's got loads of potential in the professionals. He did fantastic as an amateur going to the Olympics, but I think he'll do even better as a professional. He's made for the professional game. He's got speed, he's got power, and he can box and he can fight. And that's, if you can box and you can fight and you're turning pro, and you've got power as well. He's got all of that, so I think he'll do really well.
I wanted to ask you about Fraser Clarke, who's coming off it was a terrible knockout loss to Fabio Wardley, but he's decided to continue in boxing. Do you feel that Fraser can rebuild back and get towards the big nights again?
Yeah, it's just you've got to be willing to do the hard work, and you got to be motivated to do it. If he's motivated to do it and wants to do the hard grind and the hard work, yeah, he's still a young man. There's no doubt he can come back, and you learn from these fights where you get caught with a shot, you have to just learn from it and come back. A lot of this time it happens in gyms. You see people get knocked down in gyms, and but if it happens in a fight, it's worse, obviously. So yeah, look, it's what Fraser wants to do. But if he wants to come back, of course he can. He's still a young man.
Same sort of thing applied to Anthony Joshua, who was knocked out to Daniel Dubois. A lot of people kind of writing off him and his chances of winning a world title again. Do you feel like he can rebuild too?
Yeah, much like Fraser, it's heavyweight boxing, isn't it? And the huge guys, they generate huge force and power. All heavyweights get knocked out at some point or other, barring very, very few. So yeah, listen, if it's just a fight, isn't it? And if you learn from it and you come back and correct the mistakes, you can avoid it happening again. But lots of heavyweights have been knocked out and come back and won world titles. So anything's possible in heavyweight boxing. It's like rolling the dice.
Well, being very direct here, in some sections of boxing fans, when it comes to the discussion around Anthony Joshua, some feel that he wasn't as good as he had been with yourself. Following Anthony Joshua's career since he left you, how do you feel he's progressed as a fighter?
You know what? It's just difficult for me to have an opinion because I've not been there. But what, in my opinion, professional boxing is about the relationships you build and you have with people. And while they're working, it's fine. But that's what you got to do. It's more about a relationship, trust, and you can get the best out of them. But professional boxing is hard when you do it for a long time, and if you get the rewards as well, it's even harder. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not Anthony Joshua. I don't know what he does and how he lives his life, but I'm pretty sure he'll be training all the time because that's what he does. He's in the gym most days. He'll know what to do. He's sensible enough, and he'll make the right decisions. If he's to continue, it's fine, and if he's not to continue, then that's fine as well. But I would have thought he'll carry on boxing because everyone gets knocked out in heavyweight boxing. I know it's not always great and it looks bad, but how many fighters have we seen get knocked out in heavyweight title fights and then just come back and surprise people? So you always deserve the chance to come back and show what you can do. It's different when you're really old and you're past your best and that, and you could argue maybe he's past his best, but at the same time, I think Daniel Dubois is a phenomenal puncher. He was a phenomenal puncher when he was 17 years old. So, if Daniel Dubois catches anybody clean, he'll knock them out. So there's absolutely no shame in getting knocked out by Daniel Dubois. He's a top fighter. He's got a great jab, but also he's powerful like you can't believe. And I don't think I think they do, but his power is on another level to, I would argue, any of the heavyweights in heavyweight boxing at the minute. His power's serious. It's like he hits you and you stay hit, and that's whoever he hits. It's going to be the same. Just a really dangerous puncher, but no shame in getting knocked out by Daniel Dubois. Doesn't mean you can't come back.
You feel that AJ versus Wilder is the right decision to go against Deontay Wilder if that's the route next, if he does choose to continue?
I think just the sensible route. If you're going to box on, just take the right fights that you think are right for you. It's all right other people saying what you should and shouldn't do, but ultimately you've got to decide yourself. If you're an experienced fighter, you know what you're doing. You've got to make the right decisions, and make the right decisions. That's part of the job as a professional boxer. You've got to make the right decisions. So make the right decisions on who you fight next, if it's going to get you back to your best, or if you go, whoever you fight. But you've got to be careful. You've got to pick the right opponents at the right time so you can progress and perform. If you pick the wrong opponent in heavyweight boxing, it's a nightmare, and that's what happens with all of them. Same for all heavyweights, no exception. Think about all the great champions in heavyweight boxing; they've pretty much all been knocked out or stopped. So, that's how hard it is for anyone.
Boxing fans just writing AJ off too quickly. They're talking about his desire, talking about his vulnerability and taking a shot as well too. Is it just boxing fans reading into it too much, or is there some truth to it?
No, I don't know. I just think it's the same with if anybody gets knocked out, this is the same thing. If they get knocked out, all I would say is that Daniel Dubois is a phenomenal puncher. and he can knock anybody out, and anyone. He gets clean, so it is what it is. And at the end of the day, it's what the fighter wants to do. He'll know where he's at, and he's hugely experienced as a boxer. He'll make the right decisions.
Moving to another fight, Tyson Fury said he's retiring, and just sticking with AJ, how would you feel if we never got that Tyson Fury versus AJ fight, which Brit fans have always wanted?
Yeah, it'd be a shame. It'd be a shame. I think obviously the fight's been built up for years, but listen, they're big guys. They put their body through so much over the years. Them training camps for huge people are not easy, and it's just how good they feel, and how their body's holding up, and that dictates what they do, how long they stay in the sport.
Very last thing, Spencer McCracken Jr. has opened his doors and helped me. I just want to say this on record and losing some weight, but Oscar McCracken is keeping on the McCracken lineage. I watched him fight and he had some serious body shots. I said, that's like Oscar De La Hoya, and they said, no, that's a McCracken body shot. Could you give some advice to maybe Oscar as to navigating the early pro game?
Well, I haven't seen Oscar box yet. I've been out of the country about 3 times with fighters fighting, but my dad told me, because he boxed at school, just stick behind the jab, and that's good advice. Larry Holmes used to do that as well.
Robbie, much appreciated.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.